What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video. I want to talk to you guys today about my wish list for WWE in 2025. And pretty much this will consist of things that I want to see happen in 2025, whether if it's people winning a championship or people getting called up, returns, debuts, all that kind of good stuff. I want to talk about all that type of stuff. So the first thing that I want to talk about that's on my wish list for 2025 for WWE is more emphasis on championships. And what I mean by that, I want some titles to feel more important and more emphasis specifically. I'm going to be specific on this one, the tag team championships. I want more emphasis on the tag team division. I want the tag team division to get more love in 2025. I feel like they have the the division, they have the tag teams to make a good tag team, but I just feel like they're not using it to the fullest of their capability, and it's showing. We have people like the Street Profits, we have Motor City, we have the Bloodline, we have DIY, we have Judgment Day. We have numerous tag teams, and we have Fraxium and NXT, and they're proving that even when the NXT division isn't as loaded as the main rosters is, they're still using the NXT roster to the fullest of the capability, and it's showing, and I'm loving it. Like, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, NXT has the best tag team right now, and it's crazy for me to say that, and then they don't have as much of a loaded roster as the main roster does, but it's still very interesting, and I feel like it's only going to get more interesting. And I know next year we're getting more acquisitions. Possibly, we already know Penta's coming in, and then I think some point next year Ray is going to come in. So we're going to have the Lucha Brothers coming in as well. So I do think the tag team division could are starting to make changes to get to where they want to be, but it's going to take still a lot of time to get there. But I think they're going to have to be able to use what they have and use it to the fullest of their capability to make it work. So hopefully that's something that they do in 2025. Um, the next thing that I want to talk about is also regarding championships. I want them to get away from the long title reigns. I feel like not all the championships that we have in WWE need to be long, lengthy title reigns. Like you go back to like the 90s and early 2000s, we were having championship reigns that were like 3-4 months, and it didn't really diminish the legacy of the championship. It just made that championship more unpredictable. Like anybody could be up for grabs, and I want them to get back to that point where there is unpredictability in who's champion. Like you look at somebody like a Gunther, and you look at like someone like a Cody. Like they've been built up to look like they're very dominant, and there's nobody can really take them down to win the championship. So I want them solely to make changes to that, to where we are in 2025, where there's more unpredictability. Like you can see other people potentially win that championship. Like you could see a Kevin Owens win the championship from Cody. You could see a Randy Orton win the championship from Cody. And on Raw, you could see other people get their hands on that. You could see a Seth Rollins. You can see a CM Punk. You can see a Drew McIntyre. You could see numerous people have that championship throughout the year. Like in 2025, you could have at least a good 4 or 5 championship reigns, and it's not really going to diminish the legacy or anything like that. So I hope that WWE is going to do that, but it seems more of a stretch. Uh, if we're gonna be honest, it seems like a stretch that I can see them not doing that. But this is my wish. Like I said, that's something I want to see them do in 2025 for sure. Um, the next thing that I want to see in 2025, I want to see potentially Finn Balor get that world title run. I want to see him finally get his hands on that world championship. Like I said, if we're seeing, but if he stays with the Judgment Day, and then they're on Raw, Raw's gonna be a loaded roster just because of all the star power that they're trying to bring in for that show, and it's to be understandable. Like we understand that Netflix, they want all the best on the roster. They want the heavy hitters. They want Roman on that show. They want Punk on that show. They want potentially Cody on that show. So they want a lot of the big stars on that show. And for Finn Balor, not to say that he's not a top star, but he's not on the level of those guys, unfortunately. And his chance of winning that WWE championship, if they do put him on Cody Rhodes over there, his chances of winning that championship, like I said in previous videos, is really, really slim, and it seems like next to impossible for it to happen. But I want to see him win a world championship in 2025 for sure. I think a lot of people are clamoring to see him finally get an actual run with that championship. So I can definitely see that happening. Something else that I want to talk to, since we're talking about the Judgment Day, I'm going to talk about two other people that's kind of in Judgment Day. First, I'm going to talk about Dominic. I think Dominic, his whole thing is should be, like I said in previous videos, is um, him winning a singles championship and him putting himself in a position to where at the end of 2025 he is one of the best on WWE television, depending on what brand he's on. I think he needs to be put more in the spotlight. I know this year they've kind of tried a little bit more with him, where they like before it seemed like he was just a background character, but now they're slowly taking steps to where he's more part of the forefront of the Judgment Day, and I want to them to continue that, but maybe kind of him step out of the Judgment Day and kind of be on his own, do his own thing, become his own man, and have his own success. Him winning a U.S. championship, him winning the IC championship. I know a lot of people said it, and myself included. Maybe he finds himself in contention to be part of Money in the Bank, and I think a lot of people been clamoring for him to be part of that for like the last 2 years, and they have not yet put him in a Money in the Bank ladder match. He has not yet set foot in that stipulation type match, and hopefully this year coming up, this is the first time that we do see him make his presence felt in a stipulation like that, and he comes out on top and wins the Money in the Bank and sets himself up for to potentially be a world champion in the next year or so. And so I can see them doing that. So I hopefully they do decide to pull the trigger on that. Another person I want to talk about is potentially Louis Kaiser. I want to see him do more in 2025. I want him to be a breakout star in 2025 and have a coming out party to where he can really show that he can be a top guy in the company. He could be a top player. He could be a utility player. He can be somebody that's really special to be in your mid card title division and be a huge focal forefront of that division as well. So hopefully 2025 is a good year for him. Another person that I want to talk about is Sheamus. I want to see Sheamus finally be able to get the Intercontinental Championship, finally finish his story, no pun intended, but finish his story as far as winning the Intercontinental Championship, the one title that has eluded him in his entire career. I want to see them do that. I want to see them, take steps to get to that, whether if it's at WrestleMania against Braun Breaker or if they decide to pivot and have Sheamus face somebody else for the Intercontinental Championship. I want to see him win that championship at some point next year for sure. Another thing that I want to see happen in 2025, going back to the Judgment, is Liv Morgan. I do think that she is probably going to lose that championship. I do think in 2025 she should be moved over to SmackDown. I know she is, on the trailer for Raw on Netflix, and but the thing is, kind of with Finn Balor is if she loses the championship, I think her best thing is potentially being in the mid card title division, and it's nothing wrong with that. But I want to, be able to see her do more, and I think this year alone she's proven a lot of people wrong in a sense, like that she can be a top star, she can be a main event player. Um, and I think after the year you had, you want to be able to you know, follow up on that. You want to follow up, and you should be able to follow up on that as well with the year that she's had. Um, I think, like I said with Finn Balor, if you have him on Raw with all those big names, and the women's is no different. I mean, right now Becky's gonna pretty much be on that show. Charlotte's being rumored to be on that show. You're gonna have Rhea on that show. You potentially people want Bianca on that show as well, and maybe Jade. So you're having big names on that show. You have like five or your biggest stars on that roster. So it's like, and they're pretty much being booked to be dominant. And it's like, for Liv's sake, I don't know if they're going to put her in a position to where she's going to go over those type of women, unfortunately, which I feel like she should. If you're trying to make a big deal of her and make the best out of it, have her beat some big names like that. But I don't think WWE is going to do it. So I think the best thing for her, if they want to keep her in the main event scene, which I think they should. I think yes, she can win the Intercontinental Championship and stuff like that. And I think if you move her to SmackDown, she could be in the US. But I think her being on SmackDown would be better for her career, because not only she can go after that US Championship and help elevate that title, but she can still go up to the main event scene and potentially do some stuff there, because you're gonna have it be wide open where they're gonna need some star power, and you could have a Liv Morgan be slotted into that slot there. So maybe that's something that they do decide to pull the trigger on. And we got to go think back on what happened a couple weeks ago. We saw Dominic in the background, and he was talking to Nick Aldis, and this is all part of the transfer window. Maybe what the plan is to get Liv Morgan and himself over to SmackDown. So what if that is the play here? What if that is the play that they decide to move them over to SmackDown? Maybe they moved the entire Judgment Day over to SmackDown and continue to tell that story going forward of the dissension of the Judgment Day. So maybe that is something that they do try to do as well. So we'll have to see on that. Another thing that I want to see is John Cena. We know John Cena is going to be having his farewell tour in 2025. I want to see him do two things. I want him to see him get that 17th World Championship run, and I also want to see him win the one title that has eluded him in his career. Same thing to Sheamus, the Intercontinental Championship. I want to see him win the Intercontinental Championship. Could you imagine the thing? Like, we seen what John Cena was able to do with the U.S. Championship in 2015. He was put on some banger matches. He was help introduce new stars and help putting them over on at the same time, as well as being U.S. champion. And he was having a hell of a run in 2025, in 2015. I'm sorry. Think about it. He was having a hell of a run in 2015. Think about it. 10 years later, he's back and he's holding the Intercontinental Championship and doing the same thing he was doing for the U.S. Championship, but for people like that you have on the roster, like a Carmelo Hayes, like a Andrade, like a LA Knight, just to name a few, like a Dominic. Like, he can do that. There's ways you can do that, and I would love to see what he can do with the Intercontinental Championship. And then maybe in the later parts of 2025, he can find himself competing for the World Championship. We know the World Championship, especially for SummerSlam this coming year, it's going to be 2 nights. So he can easily fit on one of those 2 nights of SummerSlam, or even one of those 2 nights of WrestleMania, depending on how you do it. But he's pretty much going to be almost a full-time competitor. He's going to be on pretty much almost every single PLE that they're going to do. So why not have him, completing two different stories. The first is winning the Intercontinental Championship, and the second is winning that 17th World title. So you can have him go into WrestleMania, or potentially at WrestleMania win the IC title, maybe. Or you have him, walk in as champ, or, him compete for the title, and then in the later half, him, do the same thing for the world title. I could see that happening. Another person that I want to see win a world championship in 2025 is CM Punk. CM Punk has pretty much been having a great year. A great year for him this year. I know he hasn't really been in the ring as much, only because he was injured for the majority of this year, but still, he still managed to have one of the best matches of 2024 with him and Drew McIntyre. Still managed to have one of the best feuds of the year with him and Drew. And they're already kind of planting seeds between CM Punk and maybe Roman Reigns at some point next year. You could do CM Punk and Roman Reigns on one of the nights of WrestleMania if they're not going to do Roman and Rock. You could still do that at WrestleMania. You could still do Roman and Punk maybe at SummerSlam next year, since that's going to be 2 nights as well. So I would love to see them do that as well. Another thing, moving over to potential debuts, I want to see people come over from AEW, like a Ricky Starks. I know his stuff is pretty much his contract status is where he's still with the company, but he doesn't want to be there. They're not doing anything with him. So when his contract's up, you can rest assured that he's probably gonna make that jump to WWE. And he's probably gonna do some great stuff there. I think I can see him going to NXT and having the same type of run that Ethan Page is having right now, and I wouldn't be mad at it. I would love to see people, jump ship to AEW. I mean, I could see him coming over. I could see Hook coming over. I can see maybe Wardlow coming over. I mean, we're gonna see Ray Phoenix jump over as well, so I can see that as well. Maybe Camille. I don't know what her contract status is, but she's kind of teased some stuff where she might leave. So we'll have to see how that goes. But if she does leave, I could see her going to WWE. Could you imagine the matches that she can have with the numerous talent that they have in NXT right now? You can have her and Zarya, or formerly known as Delta. You can have that match. You can have her and Julia. You can have her and Stephanie McCoy. You could do her and if she's still on the roster, Roxanne Perez. There's numerous matches that you can do with her on the roster. Um, and Joe Hendry, I want to see Joe Hendry, jump ship from TNA to WWE. And same thing goes for Jordan Grace. We know those contracts are going to be up in the early parts of 2025. I would love to see those two jump ship. Maybe one goes to the main roster, one goes to NXT. But if I'm going to be honest, I think Jordan Grace should go to NXT. I think honestly both of them should go to NXT just because you want them to get more familiar with the WWE style and the WWE system and whatnot. Jordan Grace, I think she's proven she is main roster ready. She can easily go over there and be part of the main event scene and be a part of that mid card title scene. But similar to, like I said, with Camille, she can have some great matches in NXT as well to continue to build her stock even more than it already is. And same thing for Joe Hendry. Him winning that NXT championship would be huge for him. We know next month he's competing for the TNA World Title, which I hope he does win. I love Nick Nemeth. I love what he's doing. He's re-established. He has rejuvenated his career, and he's doing some of the best work right now. And I think he is going to do some big things in TNA. He's been doing some big things outside of TNA as well. I would love to see him make his presence felt. Maybe coming back as well. We'll see how that goes. We know this TNA and WWE merger is still somewhat going on, so maybe we could see those two potentially make their presence felt in the WWE style and stuff like that, and everything like that. So it's pretty much a big year for 2025. If I'm based off the things that I've said and the things that I want to see, play out on television and stuff like that. But comment down below, let me know what are some of your wish lists, or what's on your wish list for WWE in 2025. What are some things that you want to see as far as returns, debuts, people winning titles, people moving brands, and stuff like that. I would love to see what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. We're at 453 right now, or four, I believe. So let's get to 500 by January. I know we can do it as a wrestling family. The road to 10K is the goal for next year. We're trying to get 10K next year on YouTube. I know we can do that as a wrestling family as well. But with that being said, hope everybody had a great Christmas. I hope everybody's having a great New Year's and stuff like that. New Year's is approaching, so hope everybody has a great start to your year and everything like that. I will be doing some more videos. I know things kind of looking different, as you guys can tell in my background. I will be doing an update on that and kind of give you guys an update on that and why is that the case and everything like that, and pretty much talk about my goals for 2025 as well. I'll probably be doing some more gaming videos as well, so be on the lookout for that as well. But with that being said, hope everybody has a great day, a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.